Okay, sorry folks, that's dreadful, isn't it? I'll let the record go. Just a few things to navigate around at the moment. It's a busy house. I might be on the other side of this. Oh, hi there, Frank. You with us there? Yeah, sorry about that. I let the record go there. I was inside having a chat and then suddenly I realised that it all finished. It went very quickly, didn't it? Yeah, you're not quite so strong. Am I?
Hold on. I'm off frequency, I think.
Oh, I think you might be, yeah. So, yeah, we'll check in with you. I might just need another few minutes because I'm in the middle of a conversation inside. And,
Yeah, sure.
And I didn't get home until late today.
Okay. Look, I am on frequency according to...
No, it's fine. It's coming through beautifully now.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. Yeah, this is a... I'll play the other side of this. This is a Decca 78, a Decca LP, a medium play, full frequency range according to Flanders and Swan.
Yes, that's right.
And a medium play microgroove it's billed as. And featuring Charles Munch conducting the orchestra of the La Société de la Concert de Conservatoire de Paris.
Oh.
So yes, it's Le Corsaire Overture by Berlioz, music of Berlioz. So I reckon we'll give this a go, and I should be back at about 10. So sorry about the slow start.
No, that's fine. Take your time.
Just it's a busy household at the moment, Frank.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, a lot happening. I'll talk about it later. It's no big deal, but we'll just get things going. Here we go. Needle drop back in 10:15.
Very good.
Okay, there we have it. That was a very dramatic work by Berlioz. That was Le Corsaire Overture. And Charles Munch conducting the orchestra for the Conservatoire Orchestra in Paris back in the 50s on a medium play. Decca early LP, picked up at the op shop very recently.
Very good.
Yeah, so good to hear. How you been, Frank?
I've been very well, thank you.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, no, everything's good. I'm still on this magic medication. So
Yeah?
it's just about coming to an end.
Oh, really? Okay,
Things
let's
will
hope.
revert to normal state.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's hope the muscle memory's kicked in and you've got a new template.
Yeah, up to a point, I think it has. You know.
Yeah, that's it. We've got to trick the body with these things, don't we?
You do indeed, but I'm about to go and spoil it all by going out to a long lunch tomorrow.
Go for it. Enjoy yourself.
I do, actually.
It's something you've just got to cut loose and do those things.
It's with my my very good friend Holly's dad.
Oh, yes. Oh, it will be interesting to hear if Holly's involved with the AOIO this year. We've just heard from Hen that he's really it's a full season for him. He's even doing the overseas trip.
Oh, that's wow! It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, and he's got into seasons and everything, so he'll be doing all of the extra bits and bobs. So yeah, should be good.
Holly's in a cell of it for younger people.
Yes.
It's called something else. It's actually not called. Well, it's part of AYO, but it's got its own name, and I can't remember. Peter told me.
Sure. Yeah. It's a very wide, broad church. There's a lot of aspects to the institution. It's very well supported and funded, and I mean, Hen doesn't have to pay much at all for anything really.
No, I'm sure it's the same with Holly.
So it's marvelous how they support these young musicians and give them the opportunities, and so. Yeah, it's a great institution. So yeah, lots on board. Alrighty. Okay, well, I suppose we'll get going with a few 78s. I'm sort of in three places at once at the moment. It's a very intense period for us because it's during the performance season for Beatrice's exams, VC exams. She had a drama exam yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she did really well. It was great. Went well.
Terrific.
And then her maid singing performances on Sunday, so that's what we're working towards. So she's just practicing a lot and needs a lot of support.
That'll be huge.
Yeah,
how long does that take?
I think it's about a 20-minute program.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very intense, and there's a lot in it, and it's hugely significant on so many levels. So she's exhausted at the moment because she's had a bit of long COVID since that COVID event. Yeah, so she's just been so tired and just really struggling to resource herself.
Yes, it's not to be trifled with it. Long COVID.
Yeah, that's it. It seems to be. I mean, she can resource herself and do what she needs to do, but she's just sort of consumed by this fatigue. And it's
my son Patrick and his family have just got it. Last week they went to Canberra for a holiday.
Oh no! And they got COVID.
And they got COVID.
Oh, poor things.
And it's terrible. I mean, they're okay.
Yeah.
Tanya, the mother she's a secondary teacher and she's isolating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know.
And Patrick's. I think, and now the girls have one's over it and the other one's in the middle of it.
Yeah, poor things. I feel for them. And the latest strains seem to be particularly strong. It seems. I don't know. I had a vaccination not that long ago, and then I got it, but it was really hit me. Well, this is like before the holidays, but it really affected me at that time. And then others, Kate's been really affected, and B now, and I mean, it's been a while since we've had it, but I think the lasting effects seem to prevail a bit. But
last time we got it was just about 2 weeks before we were due to have a booster, so we're staying well clear of the kids this weekend.
Yeah, sure.
Because again, we're about 2 weeks away from being allowed to have a booster, so our immunity would be at its lowest.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it's a tricky one to navigate, and it's all a bit fickle as well. It's hard
so it is. Yes, it's unpredictable. But there's the new strain, you're saying?
Yeah, it seems to be from what I've read. But anyhow, it's so much of it around. So Yeah, well, but look, we'll move forward. We'll play a few records. I really want to do a program tonight. I sort of feel like I miss it, and so I won't be that late and very long and anything. But look, we'll start about 11 and just play. I've got so many of these wonderful records of Jamie's here. And and it'd be just nice to play a few more of these. Some of the classical stuff, and let that be a bit of a feature, perhaps. So,
that'd be excellent.
Yay! So we'll do that at 11 o'clock. That's the plan. Anyhow, in my hand, I've got an Edison Bell winner record from 1925. I think it's late 25. It's a very early electric, if I remember correctly. I'm having trouble with this turntable and hum. Not sure what's going on here, but I'll just test it now and see if it. Oh yes, I can hear it's getting into the system. Oh God, that's a nuisance. Let's have a look and see what the profile's like on the noise reduction. It's there. Look, we'll try it. See what happens. When I turn the microphone off, it seems to be better. So we'll give it a try. Back to 1925, the Pavilion Players. Okay, there we have the Pavilion Players. Could be absolutely anyone, and that sounds to me like a light beam recording, and it was all right. It didn't. It's got a lot of low-level hum, but I don't think it's coming through the system. It's not modulating. Sometimes the hum can sort of be, unfortunately, modulate with the RF, and then you get this dreadful oscillations and things.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem to be doing that. It seems
Couldn't hear any trace of anything out of the ordinary.
No, that's it. So on the, I have a digital playthrough, which is it's just a very mild noise reduction, but it gives me an idea of what the signal is like, and it's coming up very strong, and I can hear the hum when I turn the system up outside when I was off air, and I think it's just native 50 hertz hum. So wait a minute, what's our name? It's 50 hertz hum, but unfortunately, We don't get the harmonics from it.
So
that's good. So that's good.
It's a pure sine wave.
Yes, it's like that. So something's going on. It's an earth loop issue, I think, and it's to do with tone arm shielding. I think some of it's come undone. I've got a rather ad hoc arrangement of shielding the wires with lots of aluminium foil and tape underneath the bench. To try and ameliorate things there, because the tone arms were originally used for different types of cartridges, and I've repurposed them for the SME type carts, and that's not always a happy marriage. So they, it's a very ad hoc arrangement at best. But
sounds like the trouble I used to have with my little transformer for my Autofon cartridge.
Oh yes,
it was very hard to shield it.
Yeah,
indeed. I tried silver, aluminium foil, and that was the main thing I tried.
Yes,
but the crucial thing was the positioning of it.
Yes, that's the thing. It's all relative to other magnetic fields.
There was a position, a sweet spot, where there was a sort of cancelling going on.
Okay.
It sounded like cancelling.
Yeah.
Of hum, and but if you moved it up, half an inch from either way, it'd come back. So I had to find the sweet spot and then somehow fix it there.
Yeah. It's frustrating. It's such a a difficult thing to determine and to maintain.
Yeah, that's the maintaining of it.
That's the thing. Yeah, I find here that it's a constant battle in this situation, and one of the bigger problems is RF getting in, but I don't think it's a problem in this instance, unless I have the mic up and the gain up on the system. But if I can just use the faders,
at a reasonable level.
If I can juggle the faders discriminately, it's all right.
Yep.
Now, when we've got a new op shop down the road.
Oh, excellent!
It's almost at the end of our street.
They must have heard that you live close by.
I think
they're lucky to keep them going.
Yes, I think my family has patronised them very, very well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so we've been there quite a bit, and I went and had a look and picked up some LPs, the one that we just heard before, that record of the Berlioz, but also an interesting disc. I'm really pleased to have this, actually. It's one of Robert Parker's golden years of digital stereo.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Robert Parker, collector, ABC engineer, broadcaster. In the 1980s, he had a program on ABC FM.
Yeah, I can remember it.
Yeah, jazz classics in digital stereo, and he had access to the very first generation. I think it was of Cedar software, and it was worth an absolute fortune. And he was able to, he put his own brand of reconstituting records. He put some reverb in, he got rid of the noise, and they sound a bit artificial, but they also sound fairly clean. And it's a fascinating endeavour, and it's not necessarily the sound I aspire to, but I'm just happy to have them because it brings the music to the fore, and I have no problem with that. It's there's no digital noise or hash or any of that sort of stuff, and he somehow creates. Maybe he's using some sort of coupling arrangement, but it sounds like you've got a fuller frequency response than what there's actually on the record itself.
Yes, it's overblown.
Yes, I think it's a psychoacoustic effect. But anyhow, for what it is, I think it was a very successful endeavour, and I certainly enjoy them.
Good.
Yeah. So here's this album. It's music of Al Boldy, recordings made with Ray Noble from 1931 to 34. And I'll read out Robert Parker's preamble because he was a great journalist and he knew his stuff, and he writes very well. And he says here that so little was known about Al Boldy at the time of his death during an air raid in London in 1941. That he quickly became a figure of legend, attracting a large cult following which remains faithful to this day. And, yes, it says helped by the TV series Pennies from Heaven. I remember that coming out in the 80s.
So do I. Yeah. We watched it, of course.
Yes. And, yes, it featured a lot of Al Boldy. Yeah, and he was born in Marquay, East Africa in 1890 and grew up in South Africa, entering his uncle's trade, and according to legend became known as the Singing Barber.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Perry Como was a singing barber.
Oh, how about that? I didn't know that.
Yes, he was.
That's great. Yay. Anyhow, Mr. Boldy arrived in London a penniless professional singer and dance band musician, playing banjo and guitar in 1928 via Bombay, Burma, Calcutta, Singapore and Germany. And his first job was band leader for band leader Fred Elizalde, who enjoyed a long engagement at this London Savoy Hotel. Now, we've played a lot of those recordings with Elizalde on the program over the last months, years.
Yes.
I think they're some of the most extraordinary recordings I've heard from that time.
Yeah.
Elizalde was a force of nature, and Al Bolly was his close. I think he just was very much a part of that whole vision. And those early recordings of Bolly with Elizalde are just remarkable. Yeah, but that's another story, but that's where he sort of cut his teeth and became a little bit more prominent. Now, what else does it say here? His first job, yes, was for Elizalde, and broadcasts from the Savoy Hotel by the BBC gave Al his first opportunity to reach a wider public. Initially, however, he did not make a great impact, and when the Savoy and the BBC parted company with Elizalde, by then known as the Stormy Petrel, Al found himself on Christmas Eve 1929 literally out in the cold. Goodness me. He was rescued from busking, playing and singing for theatre cues by drummer Bill Harty and pianist-arranger Lou Stone, who persuaded Roy Fox to give him a tryout, which resulted in permanent work at the prestigious Monseigneur Restaurant. It was also Bill Harty, who's the drummer on all these tracks in this album, who introduced Al to Ray Noble. And Ray, yeah, because I didn't know that he was penniless and out and on the streets.
No, I'd never heard that.
No, likewise, that's extraordinary. And it was after that period he made those remarkable records with Elizalde. That's quite sort of freakish, really.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
Wouldn't think it possible, would
I
you?
know, he wouldn't. But I suppose it was difficult times, the sort of the onset of the Depression and such.
Well, that's right. A lot of instability and a lot of people out of work that were previously on top of the world.
Yeah, I know that the Savoy Hotel kicked out Elizalde because they thought his music was too hot and it was just it was beyond what they thought was acceptable in terms of
They want sedate and dignified.
Yes, they did. They wanted a little bit of syncopation just to sort of cajole people, but nothing like that. So, that was the background to that. But anyhow, he... it goes on to say that Ray Noble was born in 1903 and the son of a London neurologist, it says. Okay, I didn't know any of this. At the age of 22, he won a Melody Maker competition for dance band arrangers. At 25, in July 1929, he was appointed Director of Light Music for the HMV Company. I've just got the heat warning. Oh, I forgot to put the fan on.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, bear with me. Oh, UHF's gone offline. I'll just switch.
You need to reset things.
Yeah, well, I forgot to put the fan on UHF.
Never mind.
I've got a little reminder there. All right, let that sort of just cool down, then I'll put UHF back on shortly. It says Ray Noble was, yes, I've said that. He was appointed at the age of 25 the Director of Light Music for the HMV Company, and he directed the dance band recordings by HMV's house band, the New Mayfair Dance Orchestra. By 1933, this was known as Ray Noble and his orchestra. I didn't realise the BBC connection with the New Mayfair Orchestra. It says from late 1930, his most regular vocalist was Al Bolly. The band itself was without equal, its members being drawn from the ranks of the top hotel orchestras of the day.
Yeah, they were really good, weren't they?
Yeah, they were spot on. The records produced during the 4 years of the Noble-Bolly collaboration at HMV ranged from jazz-inspired up-tempo numbers through to the most lyrical and sentimental love songs, invariably presented with great panache and technical skill.
Yeah.
Several of the songs included in this album are generally regarded as classics of their kind. In particular, Brighter Than the Sun, Love Is the Sweetest Thing, we know that one.
Oh,
And
yeah.
The Very Thought of You, they were huge hits, all written by Ray Noble. And it says here that listening to these records afresh with the benefit of modern digital technology, as it was in 1986, it is obvious that they were subjected to a great amount of patient, loving care in their preparation and execution. Ray Noble was regarded by his peers as being a talented and dedicated musician who expended enormous effort in his search for perfection. Al Bolly had a more devil-may-care attitude to life, but he had a generous talent which is expressed with engaging warmth. He was a very musical, very endearing, very kind man. Al Bowley, from what I've read.
Yeah. Didn't he play the guitar?
Yes, he did. But he started off, those recordings with Elizalde. Before he sang, he was playing guitar with the band and banjo. Yeah. There's quite a few recordings with Elizalde playing those instruments before he started singing. Yeah, anyhow, it says, together they produced some of the most enjoyable and polished dance band records of the golden years. That's all. Notes by Robert Parker in 1986.
Right.
So, yeah, we have this record. We'll play a few recordings.
I'm interested to hear these.
Good to hear some of them, yeah. So, okay, we'll kick off with the... Okay, one side of the album's called The Bright Side and the other side's called The Sweet Side.
Oh, lovely.
Yay. Well, we'll hear some Bright Side recording. We'll start with Brighter Than the Sun. It's recorded in December 1932. It features Ray Noble with Al Bowley, and it's a jazz classics in digital stereo. Well, you won't hear it in stereo, of course.
No.
But I'll see if our heat... I think we can switch... I've got the fan on, so I can...
Just while you're doing that, I'll say this is vk3sl in contact with vk3sl crossband duplex 2 meters to 160 meters.
Absolutely. Spot on. That's the story. All right, we're ready to go. So Al Bowley, and we'll hear Brighter Than the Sun. I think I'm ready to go. I've got the turntable kicked in. It's the SB10. We'll do a needle drop. I think this record's in reasonable condition. Hopefully it'll sound okay.
And now I'm brighter than the sun. I'm just in love with everyone. I found the world is full of fun for me. I'm as happy as the breeze that sings a song among the trees and keeps its sweetest melodies for me. For I've left all my troubles behind me. They won't find me if I smile. Life's too short to be tearful. Let's be cheerful for a while. Only just begun to put my troubles on the run. But from now on this little one is brighter than the sun.
Okay, there we have Al Bowley with Ray Noble. I have to say, I find it really quite pleasing. I have no problem with that transfer. I mean, I have a little bit, but I mean, it brings the music out, I think. I think it does it very successfully. It just makes it, it couples the bass. We get a sort of a artificially low bass, but
Indeed.
and sort of perhaps artificially high highs. But, but look, I just think it's it's
Not
about
over the top, really,
it's
is it?
not over the top. It's fine. It just sort of cuts the mustard. I think it's fine. It's much better than hearing the muffle missions and the digital transfers with all of its burbliness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I love that record. That was terrific stuff. Recorded in London, 1932. The next one's Pied Piper of Hamelin. I know I've got the original of this on the shelf here somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I know this, I think.
Yeah, this was a great song. It's just a great spirit. And, recorded a little earlier, 1931.
Yeah.
Terrific record. So, yeah, why not have some more? We'll play a few from this side.
Why not?
Yay. Yeah, so Al Bolly with Ray Noble, the Pied Piper of Hamelin. I quite like the lyrics of this, actually. It's good.
Yeah, they're good.
It's good fun and innocent fun.
Hamelin town's in Brunswick. Brunswick is in Germany. Long ago, it seemed as though the town was getting verminy. Hamelin called a piper to charm the rats away. He heard the tales the people told, said, "Oh boy, I'll knock them cold," and he began to play. The rats came round, the cats came round, from every belfry bats came round, attracted by the tune the piper played. From every hole he drew them out, they heard the stuff, he blew them out, and trembled at the noises that he made. While he shot hot brakes at Hamelin, to the riverside they strayed. They wrapped their tails around themselves and all jumped in and drowned themselves to dodge the tune the piper played. Rats came round, the cats came round, from every belfry bats came round, attracted by the tune the piper played. From every hole he drew them out, they heard the stuff, he blew them out, and trembled at the noises that he made. They wrapped their tails around themselves and all jumped in and drowned themselves to dodge the tune the piper played.
They have the Ray Noble Orchestra, the new Mayfair Orchestra with Al Bolly, and Pied Piper of Hamelin.
I love the little lyric rhyming Germany with verminy.
I know, yes, I know, it's quaint.
Beautiful.
It is. It's just sort of innocent fun. Yeah, there we go, verminy. Yeah, that's before things really got verminy in Germany. Yeah, it sort of happened a couple of years. This is 1931. Didn't get verminy until 1933 plus.
Very verminy then.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Didn't have the Pied Piper on hand, unfortunately.
They should have. They sort of got him involved. Yeah, would have made big difference.
You know.
Okay, next one is Making Wiki Wacky down in Waikiki.
I know this too.
Yay, we played this recently. I can't remember what was
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
It was another version, but I don't think it was this one. But anyhow, we'll hear this. It's a great song. It's got so much vibe, and more Al Bolly from a recent 12-inch LP, Robert Parker's Golden Years in digital stereo. So more Robert Parker.
Pack up your troubles and come along. Well, I should dreamy and life's a song. In Honolulu, across the sea, making wiki-wacky down in Waikiki. Oh, the hula dancers are sure good news. So George Spencer's a cure for blues. It's absolutely the place to be, making wiki-wacky down in Waikiki. No evening clothes, anything goes, believe it or not. And when the night shadows fall, that's when they all getting hot. On the ukuleles, they use the moonbeams to light the night. And every tune seems to sound just right. It's absolutely the place to be, making wiki-wacky down in Waikiki. Come with me, all you whoopee makers, all you wide awakers, join me. I've just found a spot, you'll like it a lot, far away, off in Honolulu, when the hula hula greets you. Hawaii is a place to get a smile on your face. Pack up your troubles and come along. Well, life's a dreamy and life's a song. In Honolulu, across the sea. Oh, the hula dancers are sure good news. Those joy dispensers, a cure for blues. It's absolutely the place to be. The modern daughters curse the charter in sunny weather. Now they're shorter than they order till they vanish altogether.
Yes, a bit of reverb makes a difference, and I'm impressed by the tightness of these British bands at that time. It's a very different sound, very different charge to what the American bands had from the same period. But it's fascinating in itself. But just musicianship is just so compelling. They just play so well together. They're so homogenous, and everything moves in the same way. Everything's in phase, including Mr. Bolly. Yeah, well, there's more. I'll play just a couple more from the side. I'll jump ahead a little bit. There's a track called Shout for Happiness. I can't remember. I sort of vaguely remember this. I just want to check in with it, see what it's like. It's track number 6, so I'm going to jump ahead, do a needle drop a bit further along. 2 more. So not next one. Here we go. All right, I think I've found the right spot. So, yeah, let's hear some more from this album with Al Bolly with Ray Noble. These are stereo recreations.
Hey, you. Shout for happiness all day through. Oh, sing, sing, let your voices ring, bid your troubles adieu. Take the joy that is meant for you. Don't sit in a corner like Jackie Horner. Get where the bright lights are. Just look up high, search the sky, find your lucky star. Shout, shout, shout for happiness. There's no joy if you're blue. Shout for happiness all day through. Well, 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 who do I see right in front of me but Max Goldie in the flesh? Hey, gosh, but you're looking well and full of spirits, too. No, I didn't say whiskey. Come on, Max, tell me, what makes you feel for happiness, huh? Been to see the Cup final. Oh, I can see it right in your eye. You're just dying for a drink, huh? Well, come on, let's go.
Yay! That is a very interesting record for a particular reason, is so far that he identifies Max Goldberg as the trumpet player and sort of has this conversation with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Max Goldberg was a Canadian trumpet player.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and ended up in Australia.
Indeed, yes.
Played with the Channel 9 band in the end.
Very well. I mean, I've heard him interviewed and everything.
Yeah, that's it. Isn't that fascinating? And he played really, really well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some great interviews of Max Goldberg. Oh, I wouldn't mind just sort of doing a rabbit hole thing. And
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, maybe we can have a listen to a little. Here it is. It's from the Hair
Couldn't have
Archive.
a better introduction.
Yes, I reckon. It's just so poignant. We can hear this, an interview with Max Goldberg, or a part of it. And now I know that Mr. L interviewed Max Goldberg at length, and I'd love to hear that at some stage. So, Mr. L, if you're listening, I'd love to hear it. And because I know that Chris went and saw him.
Yes, I remember you saying.
Yeah, and he recorded him a long time earlier. I think he recorded him in the 70s, and he opened up his cupboard and showed Chris all of his mutes that he used.
Oh, boy.
Still had them all. I think he was still playing, or at least he only recently retired.
Yeah.
And but he is on almost every second 78 from the 20s recorded, and a lot of them recorded in America, and a lot of them recorded in Britain, particularly the British recordings. He played with Ray Noble, and it's just a fantastic trumpet player. He wasn't sort of the most individual voice. He was a great mimic, and he could sort of really capture the style and the essence of players. He was a really top studio musician.
A journeyman, sort of.
Yeah, totally. But, the top of his game, I mean, in his field. So, but we'll just have a little interlude and just have a little listen to this interview with, some of the interview with Max Goldberg, who was the trumpet player on that last record and featured by Al Bowley. Check in.
This is Jack Foran in Melbourne, Australia, chatting with Max Goldberg, who Brian Rust records in his book, The Dance Band Days, in these terms. Max Goldberg was one of the most valuable assets to any band, and there were few indeed with which he never played, and was in constant demand by recording managers such as Ray Noble for strengthening his brass section. Hello, Max.
Hello, Jack.
How are you?
I'm okay, and you?
Very well too, thank you. Now, first of all, let's clear up one thing. You've been referred to as an Englishman, as a Canadian, and even an American. What's the true story?
The true story is I'm an Englishman.
Yeah.
But when I was a year old, my father and mother and the rest of the family emigrated to Toronto, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I got my education in Toronto, and then I was offered a job to go to London with a band called the Buffalo Band
Yes.
to play at the Piccadilly Hotel alongside of Jack Hilton.
Oh.
Yes. And we were there 6 weeks, but Jack sort of didn't like the competition, so we were hoofed over to Birmingham, and where I stayed and played in the Pally with the same Buffalo Orchestra for 18 months. Then I left them and took my chances, went to London, took my chances, played in nightclubs, tried to form a little band, including Joe Daniels, Dave Kay of Morton and Kay,
Yes.
Laurie Payne of the Ray Noble Orchestra. They were the three stars at that time.
Yeah.
And I drifted from there. I got a job at the Criterion Restaurant at Piccadilly Circus.
Yes.
And I had in that band Joe Daniels, Dave Kay, Laurie Payne, and I can't remember the other two. Then Dave Kay went to join his partner, Morton, and who should jump into the band with a young 17-year-old brilliant pianist by the name of Bert Reed.
Yes. Now in New Zealand. Yes.
He was with Henry Hall, if you remember.
Yes, I do.
Now, he stayed with me until I left the orchestra and freelanced around. And the next thing I knew, I auditioned, I think, for the Savoy Havana Band under Reg Batten.
That's right.
And
That would be in what? 1926.
1926, something like that.
1926, yeah, that's
Yes.
about the time.
Yes. And I stayed with that band, and in that band at the time was a great trombonist, Tony Thorpe.
Oh, yes.
Can't remember who else was in the band of note, but we used to make records, even in those days, for HMV. We'd alternate the Savoy Havana or the Savoy Orpheans.
That's right.
And I stayed with them for, same time, I think it was.
You went to Ambrose.
Yeah. Ambrose came in to hear us one day, and his trumpet player, Sylvester Ahola, was leaving to go back to America, and I was the only one available at the time. Probably the only one who could read music well, because I was always good at reading music.
How would September 1931 sound to you as being the date that happened? Well, that's the date that is recorded as the first time you played trumpet with the famous Ambrose Band. So, let's go back to the start of your association with music. How did you come to play anything? Like, was it your desire or at the behest of your parents, Max?
No, it was my desire. I seemed to have a natural bent for musical instruments, and at that time I was very lucky. My professor, and he was really a professor, he started us off, 42 of us, from the ages of 8 to 16.
Oh.
He taught each and every one of us our instruments, ranging from the oboe to the double tuba. Yes.
That's why I had to buy the tuba for you.
Exactly.
This had me baffled.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And he taught us theory, harmony, and everything. And he used to write all our music. And not only did he tell us how to play, he played it as well. He jumped from one instrument to the other and played. He was a magnificent musician. And he used to write it. It was like copybook writing, the way he used to write things for us. All original music. And one thing I'll tell you about him, Professor Glass was his name. He was the only Jew to ever be allowed to play in the Imperial Guards Orchestra of the Tsar Nicholas, who at that time was head of an anti-Semitic mob in Russia.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
I didn't
And
know.
he was the only one. I only know an example parallel to that was in England, when a friend of mine, his father, Borsdorf, a German, during World War I, his father was allowed to play at the palace, even though he was a German. And if you remember, or read about the anti-German feeling in England
Yes.
at that time was enormous.
That's right.
Well, the same thing. They couldn't get anybody to replace him.
No.
See, well, he used to teach it, and we used to. What do we say? In those days, there were no trumpets, only cornets.
Yes.
See, but if he had a surfeit of cornets, he used to put us on what we call a quasi, or like a French horn. A French horn, you play, you finger it with your left hand. A mellophone, you finger with your right
I was
hand.
going to ask about a mellophone now.
Yeah.
In some of my readings in the Gramophone magazine of the 30s, where records are reviewed by Edgar Jackson,
That's true.
he'll say the mellophone was doubled by Max Goldberg from trumpet.
That's right.
Could you describe the mellophone to us now?
Well,
It's intrigued me for years.
Yeah, well, a mellophone is like if you know what a French horn, it's an
Yes.
elongated thing, but instead of having your fingers play with the right hand like a mellophone, you played it with the left hand on the French horn. It's only exactly the same thing,
Is it?
you see. But some French horns actually have 4 valves. These had 3. Play it.
The mellophone had 3.
Mellophone had 3, and you finger it like a trumpet. Same thing.
And what would the sound
Sound be like a French horn.
like a French horn?
Yeah.
I'll have to listen more attentively in future then.
Yes.
But this has intrigued me. I'm very grateful you've cleared that thing up for me. Now, you did have a student here earlier in the day. I know this, so apparently you're still in tune with the music scene. You're still doing some teaching.
Oh yes, yes. I've since I retired, I was at Clayton for 5 years. Clayton Technical College. I taught, and not only did I teach trumpet there, my musicianship was so good because of my professor that I was able to teach trumpet, saxophone, tuba, euphonium, baritone, and trombone. All those instruments I had a very
6.
good knowledge of.
6, you're able to teach them.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I taught them. Not only that, I took them through university examinations on those
Good
instruments.
heavens.
Oh, yes. French horn included.
Of course, for people who don't know where Clayton is one of the eastern suburbs of the city of Melbourne, quite a big city, and a big school that Max refers to. Now, you were with many top-line bands during your days in London. Al Collins at the Berkeley Hotel, and Sidney Lipton's Grosvenor House Band, to name 2. But it's Ambrose that most of us associate you with, really.
Yes. Well, I was 10 years with him the first time.
Yes.
And after the war, he started up again, and he said, would I like to join his orchestra? And I was with him for another 2 years. And in that time, we went to Monte Carlo for the summer and played in the Sporting Palace.
What do you mean you played in the sporting? You mean you played music, or you played the?
No, we played music.
You might have.
We played music, Jack.
What
but
about the maestro?
Yeah, the maestro played the cards.
Yes.
Yes.
I've heard him say this.
Yes, and he lost a
interviews.
lot of money.
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, yes. But well, I will say that my wife enjoyed Monte Carlo better than me, because before the war, we had been to Monte Carlo with Ambrose
Yes.
in a year, and his master's voice in those days brought the whole recording, because we used to record for his master's voice once a month. And being away 6 weeks, we'd have lost the monthly recording. So they got the recorder, the recording machine, the whole caboose, and they took it down to Monte Carlo with it, and we made records there as well.
I can believe that, because I've got some of those records, and,
Yes.
and they're marked this in the show, and in
Yes.
the discographies is being recorded at Monte Carlo.
That's
too.
true. And
Oh.
Ted Heath was there at the time.
Yes. Sidney Lipton told me just recently that he thought the Grosvenor House Band of 1935 was one of his best, because both Ted Heath, who you've just mentioned, and this prompts the question, and yourself joined him from Ambrose, and Billy Munn had transferred from Hilton.
That's true. That's true.
Now, how do you think that was a good band?
Oh, that was a good band. Oh, yes. Very good band. We We used to do, it was mostly a melody band.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
And we had a very good arranger there by the name of George Evans.
Is that who did those arrangements?
George.
Robins and Roses is a
That's the
particular
one,
favourite
yeah.
of mine.
All
in that
all
area.
done by George Evans. And the first alto player naturally was a great man by Harry Hayes. That was
Yes,
his name.
another one.
And then there was, as you say, Billy Munn. There's the nucleus of a fine
Isn't
band.
there ever?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, Sidney Lipton's a very nice fellow. He was very kind to me when I was there, and he did wish to be remembered very kindly to you. He remembered you very, very well and spoke of you with a lot of feeling.
Oh, thank you.
Now, talking of being in demand too, you're very much in demand for recording sessions. As a matter of fact, your old friend Mickey Lewis claims there's a set of footprints in the pavement leading to the HMV studios which fit your shoes, Max. You were there so often that you made your own track.
That's true. And I'm going to tell you something else. People might not believe me, and people might believe I'm skitey. But in my time, I have accompanied or made at least 5 to 10,000 records
Good
in
heavens.
that time. Oh, yes. Well, I'll give you some of the names.
Yes.
Once a month, Jack Buchanan, Gracie Fields, Elizabeth Webb, Al Bowley,
Mm-hmm.
your own Peter Dawson,
Yes.
all monthly, 2 sides, every time. A Dutchman used to come over, never knew his name, he used to come over. Then we'd have Chevalier,
Maurice.
yes,
Yeah.
he'd come over, we'd do records, we'd accompany him. A host of other, Flanagan and Allen, people like that. And naturally, when they did these things, they used to do once a month Cicely Courtnidge, Jack Hulbert and his brother, and all those people. Well, I was very busy that way.
Well, that wasn't just... Most of those you spoke about were with Ray Noble, weren't
Yes,
they?
that's
Under his
true.
direction at that early time anyway. But what about Jay Wilbur and the Crystallite Company?
Oh, and the Crystallite. Well, we used to do dance records.
That's
with
right.
with the Crystallite.
He used to grab you. I believe there was yourself, there was Freddie
Yeah.
Gardner,
That's right.
Ted Heath and Dick Escott, were the nucleus of most of his records that he made under his directorship for the companies, the house bands.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, we did quite a few of them.
There was a special label, a 9-inch label, wasn't there, for Woolworths, the Crown label.
Oh, we started that.
Yeah.
That's true.
One of
Oh,
my
yes.
earliest Vera Lynn's is on that, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
On
yes.
the Crown label.
Yeah, yes.
So you had a pretty hectic professional life.
Yes, I enjoyed every minute of it, I'll tell you that, and that's quite frank. We used to go, well, I'd average, 8 hours, I suppose 8 hours sleep, which was quite good in those days, because we used to work till 1 or 2 in the morning, as George Smith, you remember, told you?
Yes,
and
he
then
did.
we'd be up again at 7 or 1:30 and get to the studios, either the recording studios or the broadcasting studios, and go from there. In the afternoon, we'd go somewhere else or stay at HMV or Decca or whatever.
But I said to George, it must have been good because you all must be around the 70 mark, to be very kindly, without going any further. And you all look so fit. Your memories are so good. No, really and truly. So, like, you've thrived on the life, that's all I can say. All right, so we've mentioned lots of great names. There's been 2 long plays released of the 6 Swingers. Now, that comes back to George Scott
yeah,
Wood, doesn't
that's
it?
true.
Now,
Yeah.
what
George-
about those? Can you remember
Yeah.
them at all?
Yeah.
They were selling like hotcakes.
Yeah,
incidentally.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, there you are. Twice a month we'd be at HMV, which was allied to Columbia in those days. I think it was on a Columbia label, wasn't it?
No, it was on the Regal, actually.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Right. Well, we were there twice a month for him, and as I say, Freddie Gardner was on it, and so was Bill Hardy, I believe, was playing drums, and George used to play the piano, and we had an instrument called the goofus. You remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Well, he's the only fella I'd ever seen play the goofus. And Dick Escott was on bass.
Yeah.
And
Freddie Gardner, you
Yeah.
know, oh dear.
so we'd get the,
That golden saxophone.
yeah, that's it.
Well, you're right. So the 6 swingers, but what about the hotter type of dance music on Columbia? the Gilt-Edged Four.
Oh,
Can you
yes.
remember them?
Yes, I can.
Well, who were they? Who were some of the people? Well, I know they vary, before you correct me.
They did vary.
Yeah,
but
who were some
first
of the
of
names?
all, the original was Joe Branley on guitar, and before Joe Branley was Eddie Lang. If you remember Joe Venuti,
yes.
the fiddle player, and his
Yes.
partner Eddie Lang.
Yes.
Eddie was the first one. Then Joe Branley took over from him, and the pianist was Carol Gibbons.
Yes.
And they had a trumpet player who was there. He made 2 or 3 records before I got there, from America, from New York, I believe. I can't remember his name.
Well, let's get back to when you were there, because it's
Yeah.
you we're talking to, isn't it?
Yeah, well, when I was
You
there,
would have had Phyllis.
Len Phillips played the guitar as
Instead
well.
of Branley, yes. Well, Sid Bright on piano.
Sid Bright on piano. That was when Carol Gibbons and Joe Branley did something else. you
Right,
see.
now what about the Streeters? They were involved too, weren't they? The 3 Streeter brothers. More so Rudy and Al. I
Oh,
think.
yeah, yes.
Or Ray and Al, I think, and probably Rudy occasionally only.
Yeah,
I
Rudy,
always get those two
no,
mixed up.
Rudy Moore, because he played the vibraphone.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah, I get them mixed up
Yeah,
all the time.
but Ray, no, Al. Al Streeter was the alto sax.
That's right.
And Ray was the tenor sax. Well, we very rarely used Ray, but Al used to do the records with us. One particular one was, if you can get it, called Honey Bunch. I'm featured on.
I must try and look for that.
Yeah.
Unless you happen to have a copy lying around the garage with that those mutes of yours that we had earlier.
Oh,
in the
yes.
Looking through the records, if you'll pardon the pun, that was unintentional. In 1931, you played with Roy Fox in the first 2 sessions he used Al Barley as his vocalist. Now, you made so many sides with Barley, under Noble's direction, and a terrific number of recordings with Sam Brown, with Ambrose and Scott Wood and other people. Now,
Yes, that's right.
just briefly, how would you compare the two fellows?
Well,
as vocalists?
One was Sam Brown, was a methodical good singer, but he didn't have the heart
I
that
see.
Bowley had. Bowley could, he could sing a thing and imagine the romance.
Interpret it. different.
Interpret it, yes. But Sam used to sing just for the money.
Yes.
That
Business.
was the difference. Exactly. Business.
Still 2 nice voices.
Oh, yes. Sam was very good, considering he couldn't read a note.
Is that a fact?
Oh, yeah. Considering he couldn't, he'd pick it up.
In the head?
Yeah, but Al could, because Al played the guitar.
Yes, that's right.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he'd pick it up in the head quickly. In those days, as I say, you had to take who you could get.
Well, being 10,000 miles away, I suppose it's safe to say, without upsetting the Jack Plant lovers and Denny Dennis lovers, that my 2 favourite English vocalists of the era are Sam Brown and, without me telling you, Al Bowley, of
Yes.
course. Now, you left England, as we know, to come to Australia, and we're very grateful for this. This gives me the chance to talk to you anyway. When was that?
1957.
1957.
Yes.
And what did you do when you came here first?
We went to Brisbane,
Yes.
and as we had a boarding house in London.
London, yeah. I know where it was.
You know.
Yeah, I've been
down
shown.
there,
Tony
yes.
showed me.
Oh, yes. Well, my wife says, well, let's do that, because there was very little work in Brisbane. And I was there for over a year, I believe. And a friend of mine, on that picture you can see over
Oh, Max
there,
Blake,
Max
yes.
Blake.
The New Zealand Kiwi, yes.
Yeah, well, Max Blake used to come down to in Melbourne Tonight when it was the big thing here.
On
And he used
on the
to-
television.
On television.
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't know at the time that a great friend of mine, Arthur
Young.
Arthur Young.
Arthur Young, yes,
Arthur
was
Young
director.
had the orchestra.
That's right.
So I just casually mentioned to Max, I says, if you see Arthur, give him my kind regard. So he did. And the next thing, I get a phone call, and he says, is that you, Max? I said, yes, that's me. He said, what are you doing in that cow town? I said, what do you mean a cow town? Brisbane's a nice place. He says, well, come down here. He says, you want to be in the big money? Come down here. So I grabbed the first train. I came down and I played, and at that time, Norm Spencer was the big shot.
Yes, he was.
V9?
Production manager.
And Norm is as big a collector of Ray Noble records as you are.
Yes, I know.
And Norm said, would you like to join the band? I said, okay. If I don't put anybody out of work, I'll join the band. And I was there for 10 years.
And many a time I've seen you stand up and take a solo spot on the television there and saying, by gee, I wish I could meet that fellow. And here we are.
Yeah.
And it's not our first meeting. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful to you and to your wife, Betty, for the chance to get to know you and know you as a friend and talk to you on these things. And I must ask you this. How did you feel when you heard George Smith tell me in London on the tape? Said he, along with many more of your old colleagues, thought you were dead a long time ago.
Well, it was funny. Really funny.
Wasn't
Yeah, it was funny.
I was staggered.
Well, there you are. As I say, George Smith, I can remember, I can see him right now with that bowler hat.
Another nice fellow.
Oh, and yeah, nice fella. But one of the establishment.
Yes.
See?
Well, he's at the Savoy. He's the manager of the Savoy Theatre.
Savoy Theatre,
So,
yes.
although he didn't treat me as though he were a member of the establishment. He was very nice and very kind to me, gave me a lot of his time. But I did assure him that you were alive.
Alive.
And
One day I'll write to him.
Well, I hope you do. Well, there we have it. A very much alive Max Goldberg. Still, in my opinion anyway, the greatest master of the muted trumpet ever. Thanks very much, Max.
Thank you, Jack.
Well, folks, I had to play the whole thing. I couldn't. I was compelled. I have played it before. But most interesting to hear Max Goldberg in conversation.
Great interview, and you couldn't have got anyone better to do it, too.
Yeah, he really knew his stuff, didn't he?
Well, and he resonated with you.
Yeah, there's a lovely camaraderie there. I think
mutual respect.
Yeah, totally. And I think Goldberg was about 70 then. He lived on, that was about 1975.
Yeah.
And he lived on to 1990.
Okay, 85.
Yeah, so... yeah, I found that so interesting. I mean, there's so much insight into the establishment and the scene back as it was back in the day.
Yep.
And yeah, and isn't it interesting? You're talking about the mellophone.
Yes.
Now I know we've got a mellophone under our under the piano in the band.
Yeah, I think I've got one too.
Yeah, yes, they're interesting instruments. There, it's a same length as a French horn, and fascinating that he sort of cut his teeth on the mellophone, and it's marvelous that he attributed his professor as being such an important, so important in his upbringing. And he worked locally at Clayton Technical College. My goodness me, he must have students around. They must be still around. That would have only been in the 1960s.
That's true, yes. Just the timing's right for that.
Yeah, definitely. And he had 10 years with the Channel 9 band, which is remarkable in itself. I'd love to trace some of those later recordings and hear his solos. But... yeah, remarkable. He, I think 10,000 records might be gilding the lily a little bit,
well,
but that doesn't matter. It's a lot. Look, it probably
even if it's 2,000, it's a lot.
Exactly. I mean, really. Look, it may well be close to that. If he was in the recording studio continuously, and he was an excellent sight reader, which he evidently was,
yeah.
he probably got all the gigs.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you could get him in at a moment's notice, and he'd do a professional job for you.
Yes, that's right. He was just the consummate musician, and he really got a sense of his craftsmanship in that. Now, I think what we might do, just to bookend that performance, I was taken by surprise by that little sort of dialogue between Al Boldy and
yes.
So I might play that track again and listen for the muted trumpet solos.
Yes, that's right. That'll tie the end off.
I think it will. I think it'll sort of provide some context to that. So yeah, let's have another listen to a track called "Shout for Happiness."
happiness, there's no joy unless you shout for happiness all day through. Oh, sing, sing, let your voices ring, bid your troubles adieu. Take the joy that is meant for you. Don't sit in a corner like Jackie Horner. Get where the bright lights are. Just look up high, search the sky, find your lucky star. Shout, shout, shout for happiness. There's no joy if you're blue. Shout for happiness all day through. Well, 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 who do I see right in front of me but Max Goldie in the flesh? Hey, gosh, but you're looking well and full of spirits, too. No, I didn't say whiskey. Come on, Max, tell me, what makes you feel for happiness, huh? Been to see the Cup final? Oh, I can see it right in your eye. You're just dying for a drink, huh? Well, come on, let's go.
Okay, there we go.
Excellent.
Wasn't it brilliant? Marvellous stuff. Yay. Well, there's two more songs on this, on the side. We might as well give them a burl. This next one's called My Hat's on the Side of My Head, and this is 2 years later in 1933. So let's hear a little bit more Al Bolly.
Funny thing what love can do, take a little look at me. Yesterday I was so blue, bluer than the deep blue sea. Now I'm singing, whistling a tune all the livelong day. If you want to know just why, I can truthfully say I've got a feeling I found her. It was something she said. She's got me walking on the tip of my toes, and my hat's on the side of my head. All of my troubles are mended. She's my needle and thread. 'Cause she's got me walking on the tip of my toes, and my hat's on the side of my head. Oh, that wonderful smile. Oh, I felt from the start. You should listen a while to the thumping on my poor old heart. We got a wonderful future, one that's rosy and red. 'Cause she's got me walking on the tip of my toes, and my hat's on the side of my head.
Okay, there we have it. The Al Bolly with the Ray Noble Orchestra there. And it's great spirited music recorded in Britain, courtesy of an album which picked up at the op shop last week.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's good fun, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good to hear this music. I never sort of understood the full story about Ray Noble and some of the background to the musicians there.
I'd love to hear the interview that Mr. L did with Goldberg.
I've got to catch up with him soon, and I'll encourage him to put it up. He's got a lot of tapes. He interviewed a lot of people in the 70s, and
He's digitising them all.
yeah, I hope he has. I can can help.
Also, he does a late night missions with some people,
Yeah, sure.
and he talks about. I think he went through a period of weeks. He was doing it.
Yeah, sure. Well, we'll look at the catching up about that and see if we can get that. I'd love to hear that interview he did.
Yeah.
And he'd asked very specific questions as well. Yeah, it's good. All right. Well,
He didn't enjoy being interviewed, didn't he? Goldberg.
you think he enjoyed? Yes, I think he spoke. He was very eloquent. He spoke really well.
He did, but I mean, I think he liked talking about
Yeah,
stuff.
he did. He certainly did. There's a number of interviews with him online. There's about half a dozen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people came from far afield. They realised at the end of the day. And there's interviews with him right up until the time he died, and he's very quavery at the end.
Yeah, okay.
But I think that's one of the better ones, the ones we heard there. And I think people realised that we had a legend in our midst here.
Well, it was history. I mean, you needed to capture it, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. So a number of people did speak to him, and I'll have a listen to the others and find out the ones that sort of work best.
Yeah.
And we could play some more, but he's on every second record. He's just everywhere. He's omnipresent, and as he said, he was just in the scene and available and played with
You
everyone.
could ring him up and say, "Come in next day." I wonder.
Yeah, totally. He was just the premium session player.
No rehearsal required, almost.
And he could mimic people's style. He could play just 5% less intuitive and be very convincing to sound like Norman Payne or anybody else, or even I think one of them he spoke about he could imitate Bix, he could imitate Louis Armstrong, he could just sort of find the right sort of connection with the style of those players.
The vibe.
Definitely. But I think the main thing was he was just a really good reader and a really good immersion musician, and wasn't a soloist per se. He was more about a consummate ensemble player, like a top line orchestral musician, really. But a remarkable individual, and we probably play him more than any other artist on the program here because he's just on all the records.
Well, that's it. He's just there.
Yeah. Chris, I think, told me that he asked him about his very first sessions, and some of them go. I think he started recording back in before 1920, or in the very. There are examples of his sitting in with bands in the. Just after the First World War.
Oh, God.
So I mean it's a fascinating story.
I don't suppose he kept a record of each one that he did.
I don't think he would have. I think he was probably just
too busy.
Just you move on with the next thing. But what an exciting life! What a great you'd be just you'd just be there and you'd see it all happening around you. The whole scene.
And you're playing with the absolute best.
That's right, and working as a session player with so many bands, you'd be able to be a bit objective about things, perhaps.
Totally. Oh, he'd have got a broader look, but as broad a look as you could possibly have got.
That's right. There's so much, nuance, and it'd be great to. I'll have to listen to some of these other interviews and see what they extract. But it needs an interviewer with the right mode of questioning, like the chap we just heard.
Yeah, you need someone with really a bit of musical background.
Yeah, I think so. Just to sort of, without not gratuitously, but just get the sort of the inner story behind the workings of different bands
and establishing a little rapport as well.
Yeah, definitely. You could really sense that there was a mutual, as you said, a real mutual understanding between the two people. Yeah, that was really that was a good rabbit hole. All right, well, there's one more on this album, and after that, I think I found a recording of Honey Bunch, one of his early ones, which he talked about with enthusiasm on that interview. But look, we'll finish this Alboli expose with just one more. This is one of his classic tracks. It's a beautiful song. It's good. I've Got a Date with an Angel.
I know the song.
Yeah, it's marvellous. So let's hear Alboli with the Ray Noble Orchestra.
on, gang, clap your wings. Got a date with an angel, got to meet her at 7. Got a date with an angel, and I'm on my way to heaven. No one else could be sweeter, looks divine when I meet her. Feel as proud as St. Peter, and I'm on my way to heaven. Soon I'll hear the bells ring out, and the choir will sing out. When the pearly gates swing out, she'll beckon to me. I've been waiting a lifetime for this evening at 7. Got a date with an angel, and I'm on my way to heaven.
Bolly with the Ray Noble Orchestra there, and courtesy of an album of Robert Parker's, The Golden Years in Digital Stereo. This album is called Al Bolly with Ray Noble, 1931 to 1934. The first side is the bright side, and the other side is the sweet side. I like that.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, it is.
Do you think he added much reverb?
He does. He does. There's a lot of reverb.
A lot of reverb there.
Yeah.
More than you'd have.
He's gilding the lily. I mean, he's dressing it up very much. And look, but if it's for the music, and if you can hear more, and it's someone's creative sort of interpretation, a bit of it here and there, it doesn't worry me too much, to be honest. I don't mind.
That American stuff that's got no reverb whatever, I sometimes feel like grabbing that and putting just a little bit of an edge on it.
I agree with you. I think a lot of recordings were made in very acerbic, dry acoustics, and aesthetically, I don't think they work. I think that it's hard for the musicians. You can hear them working hard. And
sounds claustrophobic, doesn't it?
It does, definitely. It was an aesthetic. It was something that they aspired to. Maybe with one single microphone, that was one way of getting a little bit more, a sense of individual instruments.
Sure.
You get less blur, I suppose, in that circumstance.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's the motivation for doing it that way. But
Still, it's nice to have just a little bit of a breathe on it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Just have a little bit of something. Just
air,
Air. You're right. It makes a huge difference. So, I'm all partial for a little bit. I think now we have the technology now to do that with in a very sort of
I had a CD player. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, go. No, please.
First CD player I bought was cheapo, but it had on it this gimmick of you could add reverb to it.
Really, on a CD player?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
On playback.
Wow. How about that?
It was. I had a lot of fun playing with it, actually.
Yeah. Could you vary it?
Yes. No.
Right. It was just like.
No, I'm afraid not. It was all or nothing.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
I suppose it was a gimmick, but
yeah, fair enough.
It had its uses,
Yeah. I noticed that. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of recordings made in the 50s are very dry.
Yeah.
And early days, they were really stuck in the way they. I think that's the problem was that they just had. That the technology was so limiting, and if you want to hear the musicians and not just get sort of a blurry sound, that was the only way, was to sort of make these acerbic recordings, and it sort of became normalised.
That's it, it did. But looking back on it, the people that sort of opened their eyes were people like Les Paul.
Definitely. Well, he just, he embraced technology in a completely new way.
He knew no bounds, did he, really?
Yeah, he knew no bounds at all. It's remarkable what happened thereon, and, it set the scene. It takes a maverick. It takes someone with, spirit and people to take a risk and do things in a completely unorthodox manner.
Indeed.
Yeah, to reset things. But anyhow, I'm quite partial to the reverb on these. It doesn't worry me in the least.
No, it doesn't worry me either. I like it.
Yeah, just a little bit, just adds just a little bit of
Nice
life.
edge to it.
Yeah, exactly, a bit of lift. And in a venue, you always have a live, there's a liveness to the venue.
Certainly.
So I think it's quite, acceptable.
I mean, the
Really.
recital centre is renowned for its reverb. It's lovely.
Yes, it's a soft, nurturing, comforting. It's like sitting on a really comfortable couch.
It's absolutely perfect. It is. It just envelops you, doesn't it?
It does. It's just a lovely supportive reverb without. It's not strident. It's not peaky. It just has this wonderful. It just universally lifts everything. Yeah, it's
Sure does.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Yay! All right. Well, I better wind up soon. But what I'll do, I need to go inside in a minute. But what
I've got actually all nice tea. So.
yeah, sure. And so, look, I plan to be back tonight at 11, so we'll just do something, I don't know, we'll find a few interesting records to play. There's so much material here. I've really got to get my teeth into it and discover a few things.
Excellent.
So
I might try to get onto Clint. I've missed him the last couple of
yeah,
weeks.
you must do that. And I'll just rock up whenever whenever you feel. And we'll...
If I'm late, that's obviously why.
It's no problem whatsoever. Just take your time, please. No pressure whatsoever. So, and I won't go that late, but I'll just play some records. I just want to get into these and discover what's here. And there's so many interesting things. I pull records out and I think, my God, what's this?
Yeah, it's an absolute treasure trove. Isn't it?
It is. It's like a lucky dip. And I haven't even looked at 80% of them. I just haven't even, there's so much material.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll definitely follow on with that tonight. Now, I will play now this recording of the Gilt-Edged 4, which was a Columbia sort of studio band featuring Mr. Goldberg and others of its early days, 1926. But he spoke very affectionately of his experience working with this unit in Britain back in the day. So I will play one such record, the record he mentioned, Honey Bunch. Probably quite a rarity, but it's out there on the tube. And this features 1926. He was born in 1905, so he would have been, 21?
Yep.
Yeah, young man on the job back in the day. So we'll hear this and then I'll back announce it and wind up afterwards. Let's go back to 1926, Max Goldberg and the Gilt-Edged 4. Storita back in early 1920s in Britain, and featured some quite adventurous playing in a time when think about the music was burgeoning. Yeah,
Right.
and I quite liked Mr. Goldberg's trumpet solo on that.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I missed it, of course. I'm sorry.
That's fine. No worries. So there we have it, Gilt-Edged 4, and just to tie in our little subplot there with Max Goldberg, Max Godinsky, I think his real name was.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So Russian Jewish, I would
Yes,
say.
absolutely. Russian Jewish heritage. Yeah. So fascinating stuff. All right. Well, I'll wind up now without any more announcements. We'll just let it ride, and we'll hear the second side of this album. It's the sweet side. It's got 8 tracks. Time in my hands. I'll do my best to make you happy. Love is the sweetest things. People know these songs. What more can I ask? The very thought of you. On the other side of Love is the Lane. Love locked out, and it's time to say goodnight. So these are all recordings with Al
They're all
Bowley.
classics.
They're all classic recordings with Al Bowley with Ray Noble in the early 30s, 1931 to 1934. So that'll be our wind-up for this afternoon. And tonight, Frank will be back on board.
You bet.
And I'll catch up with you whenever you're around, so no pressure whatsoever.
Yep, I'll be there.
Yeah, terrific. All right, thank you, and we look
Thank you
forward
to
to
the
it.
listener, we say.
Yes.
And tune in again, same time, same station.
Indeed. It's all happening this weekend. We are on board for full missions this
What
weekend.
about Sunday? You okay?
Yeah, should be. Yep, I've got
Okay.
nothing.
Of course, you're not sort of affected by B's exam.
Oh, well, the exam is in early afternoon, I think.
Okay.
So we should be well and truly back by then.
Yeah,
so
okay.
that's the plan. So, yeah.
Very good.
So we look
I
forward to
could
it.
be in difficulty tomorrow afternoon, depending
Okay.
on how things go.
Just see how you're placed. If you're not around, that's completely fine.
Yeah, sure.
Just see how you're placed.
You'll know where I am.
Yeah, that's all good. No worries whatsoever. So, we look forward to, catching up tonight and thereon. All right. Thanks a lot, Frank.
Thanks, Steve. Great, as usual.
catch
vk3jr is clear.
And vk3sl saying cheers. Thanks to listeners, and we'll hear some more Al Bowley for the next 20 minutes or so.
Time on my hands, you in my arms, nothing but love in view. Then if you fall once and for all, I'll see my dreams come true. Moments to spare for someone you care for, one love affair for two. With time on my hands and you in my arms and love in my heart, all for you. and you in my arms, and love in my heart, all for you. Best to make you happy, to help you see the brighter side. So long as I can make you happy, I'll be satisfied. I'll do my best to make life worthwhile, whatever fortune may be kind. So long as I can make you happy, I'll be satisfied. So make the most of fun and laughter, that's what I always say. Why count the cost of what comes after? Don't meet your troubles, don't meet them halfway. I'll do my best to make you happy, your friend, your counselor and guide. So long as I can make you happy, I'll be satisfied. Happiness to everything as love's old story. Love is the strangest thing, no song of birds upon the wing shall in our hearts more sweetly sing than love's old story. Whatever hearts may desire, whatever life may send, this is a tale that never will tire. This is the song without end. hope that fate may bring love story to you. Love is the sweetest thing. What more can I ask than your arms around me? What more do I need since your lips have found me? Even though we may realize we're living in a fool's paradise. What's sweeter to hear than love's old sweet story? What matter, my dear, if you're not sincere? But while the moon's above, I'll whisper words of love. This must be heaven. What more can I ask? The little ordinary things that everyone ought to do. I'm living in a kind of daydream. I'm happy as a king, and foolish though it may seem to me, that's everything. The mere idea of you, the longing here for you. You'll never know how slow the moments go till I'm near to you. I see your face in every flower, your eyes in stars above. It's just the thought of you, the very thought of you, my love. It's just the thought of you, the very thought of you, my love. Other side of Lover's Lane. Why am I always left out in the rain? Why am I always watching sweethearts pass me two by two? They seem so happy, no wonder I'm blue. There's a moonlit side where lovers bide at leisure. There's a cloudy side where I'm denied its pleasure. I sit and wonder if my waiting will be all in vain. Someday we may be together again. out may never come again. Love lost out and weeping bitter tears. No one ever hears him calling. No one needs the precious gift he brings. No one heeds the song of love he sings. On the door he beats his tiny wings. Just love locked out. A world without love is a world without life. A sad world full of gloom. So see, there's a place for love in your heart. Why, he doesn't need much room. Love is well worth the waiting for. When he comes knocking at your door, fling it wide, for love locked out will come no more, no more. Love is well worth the waiting for. When he comes knocking at your door, fling it wide, for love locked out will come no more, no more. Stars up above are peeping. Time has arrived for bed. Drawn are the blinds for sleeping. Pillows await your head. It's time to say goodnight, and it's time to close your eyes. Let's put out the light till the dawn breaks through the sky.
listening to a test transmission from vk3sl. We've been hearing the music of Al Boldy, recordings made with Ray Noble from 1931 to 1934. Al Boldy. And courtesy of Robert Parker's Golden Years in digital stereo. Record just picked up recently, so celebrating that this evening. We look forward to your company later on. She'll be back again for late night missions starting at 11 p.m. on vk3sl. Cheers.